In February 1942, the U.S. Army opened fire on a massive, unidentified object hovering over the city of Los Angeles. For hours, they hammered it with 1,400 rounds of anti-aircraft shells, but the object didn't even flinch. Thousands of witnesses watched as the sky erupted in fire, yet not a single enemy plane was ever recovered. This is the mystery of the Great Los Angeles Air Raid, a night where the military fought a ghost. Today, we analyze the declassified photos, the radar logs, and the chilling eyewitness accounts of the night the stars fought back. Prepare yourself. The setting was 1942, just months after the attack on Pearl Harbor. The entire West Coast was on edge, expecting a Japanese invasion at any moment. At 2:25 a.m. on February 25th, air raid sirens began to scream across the city. A total blackout was ordered, plunging millions of people into terrifying darkness. Radar operators at the 37th Coast Artillery Brigade detected an unidentified object 120 miles off the coast. It was moving toward Los Angeles at an impossible speed before suddenly stopping. Searchlights from across the city suddenly converged on a single point in the sky. They caught something in their beams, a large, round, metallic craft hovering silently over Santa Monica. Panic set in the 37th Brigade received the order to fire, and the night sky was torn apart by the roar of 12-pound anti-aircraft guns. Witnesses described seeing the shells explode directly against the object, but instead of falling, the craft simply drifted slowly along the coast, as if the bullets were nothing but pebbles. For the next hour, the military poured everything they had into the sky. The sheer volume of fire was so intense that shrapnel rained down on houses, damaging hundreds of buildings. Tragically, the battle claimed the lives of 5 civilians. 3 died in car accidents during the chaos, and 2 suffered heart attacks from pure terror. By 7:21 a.m., the all-clear signal was given. The sun rose to reveal a city littered with shell casings, but there was no wreckage of a Japanese plane anywhere to be found. The official government explanation came almost immediately. Secretary of the Navy Frank Knox called it a false alarm caused by war nerves. But the Army had a different story. Secretary of War Henry Stimson insisted that at least 15 unidentified planes had been over the city that night. This massive contradiction between the Navy and the Army was the first sign of a high-level cover-up. How could the Navy call a 2-hour battle a false alarm? Let's look at the famous Los Angeles Times photograph. The searchlights are clearly focused on a glowing, saucer-shaped object in the center of a barrage of explosions. Skeptics argue that the photo was retouched, or that the object was just a weather balloon. But can a weather balloon survive 1,400 rounds of high-explosive artillery? Forensic analysis of the winds that night shows that a balloon would have been blown inland rapidly. The object in the sky moved slowly and deliberately against the wind. Eyewitnesses, including many veterans, insisted they saw a surreal, metallic craft that didn't look like any plane they had ever seen. Some said it moved with a gliding motion without any engine noise. If it was a Japanese attack, where were the bombs? Not a single bomb was dropped on Los Angeles that night. The only damage was caused by the U.S. military's own shells. After the war, the Japanese military was questioned. They stated emphatically that they had no planes in the air over Los Angeles during that time. This leaves us with a terrifying forensic reality. If it wasn't the Japanese, if it wasn't a balloon, what was the U.S. Army shooting at? Some researchers believe it was a secret weapon test from a different branch of the U.S. military. But the technology to hover and resist artillery didn't exist in 1942. This leads many back to the extraterrestrial theory. The 1940s were a hotspot for UFO sightings, and the Battle of LA might have been the first major military confrontation. There are rumors of a crash that happened later that night in the San Bernardino Mountains. Some claim a recovery team was sent to retrieve a craft that was damaged, though not destroyed. Declassified documents from 1974 revealed that the object was tracked moving south toward Mexico after the battle. It simply blinked out of radar existence over the ocean. Let's look at the psychological forensic aspect. The government needed to maintain calm. Admitting that an invulnerable alien craft was over a major city would have caused a national collapse. The weather balloon excuse was a perfect way to gaslight the public. It made the witnesses look like they were suffering from mass hysteria instead of seeing the impossible. Even today, 80 years later, the Pentagon refuses to give a definitive answer. The Great Air Raid remains a closed case with no satisfactory explanation. But the forensic evidence in the photographs remains. The light reflection on the object shows it has a solid, three-dimensional structure. It was definitely there. Imagine being a soldier that night, firing a weapon you know can take down a bomber, only to see the shell bounce off a silent light. The psychological trauma for those units was immense. Many veterans took the secret of what they saw to their graves, fearing they would lose their pensions or be marked as unstable. The Battle of Los Angeles served as the inspiration for countless movies and books. It is the archetype of the UFO invasion story, but it actually happened in our world. Could the object have been a reconnaissance drone from a future era? Some theorists suggest it was a time-slip event, where a modern craft was caught in a past timeline. Whatever it was, the 1942 incident changed how the US prepared for unidentified aerial phenomena. It was the birth of what we now call UAP investigations. Looking back, the military's panic was understandable. They were a nation at war, suddenly facing an enemy they didn't have a name for. Forensic historians continue to dig into the 4th Interceptor command files, searching for the real radar logs from that night. Most remain heavily redacted to this day. The blackout of 1942 was a night of fire and fear that showed us how vulnerable we truly are. Even our most powerful weapons are useless against some forgotten forces. As we scan the skies over Los Angeles today, we have to wonder if it came back, would we be any more prepared to handle it? Or would we just call it another false alarm? The mystery remains frozen in time. Much like the photograph that serves as its only proof, the Battle of LA is a cold case that refuses to stay buried. The shells, the sirens, and the glowing saucer over Santa Monica. They are pieces of a puzzle that we might never finish. History has a way of hiding the things it can't explain. Every year on the anniversary, historians and enthusiasts gather to remember the night the war came to California. But the main witness, the object itself, has never returned. Was it a messenger, a scout, or a mistake? The answers are lost in the smoke of 1,400 artillery shells. If this deep dive into the 1942 air raid kept you watching until the end, hit that like button to help our investigation stay alive. Subscribe to Forgotten Clues to join our hunt for the world's most guarded secrets. We read every comment you leave. So tell us, do you believe the weather balloon story, or did LA experience a real-life alien encounter? Let's debate below. Every detail we find, every old logbook we open, brings us one step closer to the truth. Don't let history be written only by those who want to hide it. This file is temporarily closed, but the investigation into the unknown continues. See you in the next deep dive. Thank you for watching only here on Forgotten Clues.